What's good, everybody? Kevin DTV back here in full effect. Today I plan on doing two videos. The first video, which is this one, I will be breaking down the Robocop 3, and the next one, I'm gonna give my opinion on Avengers Endgame. But going back to Robocop 3, it's not gonna be a long video because there's really not much to break down except the fact that everything you see in that movie, if you go back and look at it. And I know to a lot of people that RoboCop 3 was the wackest of the three, which I agree. But it wasn't as bad as people wanted to, that people make out to be. I thought it was more of a better movie when I saw it grown than I did when I was a kid. It was better than I thought. It wasn't a classic, but I thought it was a lot better than what it was. But anyway, let's get into it. The first part of the movie, you'll see as it surrounds this little girl named Nico and her parents. She, knew she was like a little, tech genius and stuff like that. And, they was just at home with her and her parents. And you see the cops on TV pretty much trying to dragging everybody out of their homes, giving everybody an eviction notice, telling you gotta get the hell out. And you can go ahead to a rehabilitation center and, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And you can see at the first part the way people was fighting them and trying to rebel against them and stuff like that. You see the OCP, trucks, get rounding people up. Now, there's really not much to break down, as I said. If you pay attention to RoboCop 3, when she ran into Bertha and all those other people who was pretty much rebelling against OCP, it kind of reminded me of Demolition Man, only due to the fact that just like how Dennis Leary, Echo Friendly, and all the people who knew what was going on with Raymond Cocteau and all the stuff that he was pulling. They knew he was more about tyranny than he was about caring for the people. As Simon Phoenix already knew about him, because that's the reason why he brought Simon Phoenix out to begin with. That's exactly what they do to us. Every time, you turn around, there's like a major crisis going on. And, you go back to Demolition Man, everybody who was living above ground were pretty much sheep, and sheep that was in terrified of every little thing that happened. But let's get back to RoboCop 3. I make the comparison to Demolition Man only due to the fact that they all had to go on the ground to, steer away of all the crap that was going on. And, they, had to live on the ground and get away from OCP's oppression. And as far as OCP was concerned, the old man is pretty much out of the picture by this point. And I know a lot of people was like, I don't know why they put Rip Torn in the movie anyway. I kind of like this character. I kind of liked him being a CEO. I kind of liked the way he was like, it's turning into a war zone. Even though it was kind of overacting, but I still liked it. I always said that I would like to see the black mayor from RoboCop 2 go at it with Rip Torn. And if that would have happened, that scene would have been a hell of a lot more funny than with him doing it with the old man. Because you see, the old man was just chilling. He's just chilling in the back. You know what I'm saying? Not caring about how the mayor's responded to this. He ain't even, So, but now in this case, OCP is in the whole $350 million. And when it comes to Detroit, they pretty much had every other neighborhood in the city wiped out, with the exception of one section, was Cadillac Heights. That was the last piece of the city that they had to get everybody out from, and that's where Nico and her parents was living at. And if you see that he burnt the eviction notice, and just to show you how cruel OCP is, when Nico was about to go to sleep and her father went to go tuck her in, what the hell you see? A damn, bulldozer or whatever you think just crashing into their house. I mean, these people ain't got no heart. No, you know what I mean? Like, they was just like, okay, we just here to do our jobs. We don't care what happens to the people. And it's like, and that's why it was, good that, that they had RoboCop on their side. Even though, and Paul McDaggett, he was the guy who was running the whole shit. And he pretty much was like, don't care. You know what I'm saying? And there were civilians in the church where, where Murphy went to, because he saw Nico and he was like, he saw her go up in that church, and that's why he went there. Then he realized that in that church there was no hostiles, no nothing. It was just a bunch of civilians trying to keep warm, and stay off the street, And when they found out what was going on and McDaggett and his people were out there, RoboCop and Lewis was trying to tell him, like, yo, you're making a mistake. These people ain't no threat, But, And Lewis was like, and Lewis and Robocop was like, and Murphy was like, we're not budging. And then of course Daggett shoots Lewis to death and then blame it on Murphy. You know what I mean? And then Murphy he got hit with a grenade in his chest. He was all messed up too. So it was like, and he had, and then he was sitting there mourning Lewis as she was asking, telling him get them for me and promise. And he was like, I'm promised. And he recorded that shit too. You know, so the whole premise of this is that people need to understand, with the exception of those who already know what it is, who've done their research over the years, just like myself. But they always use crises in order to, you know, justify. Just gonna be frank, justify bullshit. Okay, and you know, nobody in Detroit would have been able to afford Delta City. Delta City was gonna be too. It's kind of like what they did with New York now. Back when I was growing up in New York, it was the slums, you know, just like downtown in the Bowery. That was Skid Row. If anybody remember that song from Little Shop of Horrors, down on Skid Row, that's the Bowery. That's the Bowery, And then back in Harlem, where I was from, it was all tore up. Buildings by buildings by building by building was all burnt out. Some of them crumbled. That was because some of the landlords wasn't getting their rent. And they wanted to go ahead and get the insurance, so they burned people out of their apartments. And then what happened years later? As I was a kid looking out my window, I used to see all these white guys and these Jewish guys, and I ain't got nothing against Jews, but I'm just saying, these guys just stand out there, and I'll look out my little window, and they used to scour every building. Next thing you know, by 1999, 2000, it started to become, a gentrification type of scenario, and that's pretty much what they were going to do to Detroit. Delta City is kind of like in New York when people was buying all this property, and instead of having regular apartments, they went ahead and had co-ops and condos. And then I go back to Who's the Man, where the first part of that movie, when Nick the barber was asking one of his clients, was like, "Well, what you think about the condos, Nick?" Or actually, it was the other way around. It was Nick asking his customer, "What do you think about them condos?" He was like, "It don't make no damn sense. Black man can't live in no condo." You know. So, and that's why they do that. They do that to purposely get people kicked out of their homes. But in the case of Robocop 3, they want to cram more people. It's just like the FEMA caps. Yeah, I'm saying it. That's why I break these movies down the way I do, because see, people always looking at it from an entertainment aspect. Me, I look at it from a more, um, from an angle that most people a way that most people could not even understand, unless you somebody like me who actually sees through the crap. But that's pretty much my point, man. And then at the end of the day, people got to realize, no matter how much you may think that things are going to be okay, no government and no politician is going to protect you from what's about to go down. I'm sorry. Just like in RoboCop 2, the mayor tried to do it. He didn't succeed. Because he put himself in a situation where he couldn't really have no legs to stand on in court. So that's pretty much what I'm saying. No politician is going to be able to say, not no mayor, not no governor, not no senator, not even the president. They all do their own thing, and they give a rat's ass less what you're doing. And eventually it's going to be like the purge. You know, it's going to be like the purge. The only difference is it's not going to happen for just one day. It's going to happen until most people are just killed off. And then the ones like us who do know the truth, as Bill Cooper once said, we'll do the best we can for each other. You know what I mean? But everybody else, frankly, my dear Scarlett, can go soak your heads, because y'all gonna be them same ones who's gonna be getting it. It's just like World War II when Hitler, was telling the Jews, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna send you somewhere, blah 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 blah," and it turned out to be, the death camps, Cyclone B and all that stuff they was using. So it's gonna be the same thing now. As the old saying goes, history repeats itself. And that's pretty much all I got to say for this video, and that's pretty much what Robocop 3 was showing, martial law. And if you want to be simple about it, that was pretty much the premise between all three movies. Started with the police strike, then the mayor borrowing money from OCP and not making one payment when in default. Then finally in part 3, they was on a mission to pretty much bring everybody to their rehabilitation centers, and that's exactly what they did. But in any event, I said I wasn't gonna make this video too long, so I'm gonna get off of here, and I'll see you on the next video. And I will, in the next video, be breaking Avengers Endgame because, quite frankly, y'all know what it is. Y'all who already saw it. But like I said, I'll check y'all on the next video, and I'll see y'all later. Peace, love,